Hello. This clip is about system software, and today we're going to have a little look at what operating systems are, what functions they perform. We're going to talk about utility software and application software as well. Starting off with operating systems, because I think operating systems are really cool for a number of different reasons, not the least of which is that companies that create operating systems update them, and when they update them, they bring in new features that that they didn't have before. Think about iOS on the iPhone or Android on your Android phones. You know how you can have new features that didn't exist on the phone before just because the software is updated. I love it when every September the next iOS comes out, and in June you get like a preview of it where you get to find out what features are coming. I think it's great. The operating system is the link between the hardware and the software. It's essentially it's what makes your computer work and do all the things that it does. It's the OS allows the user to access applications, apps, and it allows the CPU to communicate with peripheral devices like your keyboard and your mouse, your printer, your scanner. All modern computers, and when I say computers, I mean smartphones, gaming consoles, tablets, PCs, use an OS. Okay, so some of the key functions of an OS are that they provide the graphical user interface. So the bit that you see on the screen is provided by the OS. Okay, the way that it looks and feels, what you click on, what you can select, and all of that sort of stuff. And when you click on things, you get the little drop-down menus. That's your OS. User management, only allowing the right people to log in and use the software. That's the OS. The OS can perform multiple tasks simultaneously by managing and allocating resources and memory. So the CPU and the RAM is being managed by the OS. The OS decides what's getting processed and what's getting stored at any given time. And it also, using some software called drivers, controls peripheral devices. So when you hook up a printer, you hook up a scanner, or a control pad for a games console, the OS, again, with the drivers installed, manages those devices. And it is also responsible for file management. So when you click file and save and things get saved in a folder, okay, it's the OS that gives you that user interface, and it's the OS that decides where it's going to be stored in the computer memory and puts it there and knows where it is when you need to open it up again. So that's the operating system, and in essence it's the most important piece of software that you'll have on your device. Beyond that then, obviously, you've got your apps. So software installed into an OS to actually produce work is called application software. So think of Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, they're not operating systems, they're application software. The apps on your phone, every single one of those app is short for application software. It's a program that someone's written to work on that OS to let you do whatever it is you're going to use it for. It could be a game, it could be the Facebook app, the Instagram app, whatever. And those applications are what make your device fun and enjoyable and let you play the games and do the things that you want to do. Often you'll download those from an app store, or if it's a computer, you might still, in rare circumstances, get a disk that you insert into the disk drive and install the software. And then finally for this bit, we're going to talk about utility software. Okay, this is important because it performs specialised tasks that support the OS. So this is software like your disk defragmenter, which is software that analyses data and how it's stored on a disk and then rearranges it into a more logical sequence. So over time, files get fragmented, broken up, and they might get moved all around a magnetic hard drive, for example. The defragmenter finds all the bits of a file and brings them back together, storing them logically so that they can be accessed more quickly. It might be compression software that takes a large file and, using lossy or lossless compression, which we'll talk about in another clip, reduces the size of that file so that it takes up less disk space. It might be backup software that you use to keep an incremental backup of all of your files. It could be any of those things. So in essence, on system software, we've talked about three things: the OS, the operating system, some examples: iOS, Android, Windows 10, Mac OS, just to name but a few. There's lots more. and the functions of the OS, the things that it do, from giving you the graphical user interface, allowing different users to log in, managing the resources of the CPU and the RAM, and controlling peripherals and file management and all those sorts of things. We've got the utility software, which performs specialised tasks to support the OS. We talked about defragmentation and compression as just a couple there, and backup software. And then once you've got the OS installed and your device is running, if you want to do anything meaningful with it, you have to install some application software. We talked about Word and PowerPoint being examples there, but every app on your phone is a piece of application software. Like I said, you can mostly download them from app stores today, and you may, in various circumstances, still install from a disk. So that's system software.